you doing 73?
Why are you yelling?
Because that is stupid. That is ridiculous.
Like that too, and y'all that too.
Okay, but we're going to
like that.
Step out the car. Step back here. Step back here. Stop.
On May 28,
On May 14, 2024, the Supreme Court of Ohio entered a final order in case number 2024-687 titled Disciplinary Counsel v. Richard Allen Ferenc Jr. The order states, and I quote, "The conduct at issue demonstrates a fundamental inability to appreciate the wrongfulness of his actions and a disturbing sense of entitlement." That single sentence, pulled from a dry public record, is an X-ray of the entire case. It's a weaponized piece of understatement that doesn't scream corruption. It simply documents the collapse of a family's reality distortion field. Before we go deeper into what the documents actually show, make sure you're subscribed to Police Bodycam Legal Analysis. Because we don't just cover the story, we follow the evidence. Visualize the scene not as a traffic stop, but as a burning house. The fire is the strobe of red and blue lights on a dark highway. The father, Richard Ferenc Sr, isn't just standing on the shoulder. He is standing in the front yard of a burning home, frantically trying to convince the fire chief that the flames are an illusion created by the water from the hose. That is the visual anchor for the next 20 minutes. A structure on fire, and the architects of the blaze screaming about the unfairness of the water pressure. On the night of October 21, 2023, an Ohio State Highway Patrol trooper clocks a Dodge Charger tearing down the road. The driver is Richard Allen Ferenc Jr., 23 years old. A man. An adult in the eyes of the law, but in the eyes of the two people rushing to the scene. A permanent victim of a system that simply refuses to bow to their will. The trooper activates his lights. The stop is clean. The stop is standard. The stop is about to detonate. The initial battery charge stems from Junior's immediate, visceral reaction to being treated like every other motorist on the Ohio turnpike. He doesn't see a public servant. He sees an obstacle. The trooper asks for the documents required by state code. Junior doesn't provide them. He argues. He stalls. He escalates. Why are we doing this? That's the refrain. A question designed not to seek information, but to annul authority. Clip 52 to video start startausam $137 video end time taudered files yoder 203. It's a linguistic loophole the family has drafted for themselves. The trooper remains calm, but the physics of the stop change when Junior decides to lock the car door and roll up the window, transforming a glass and metal box into a sovereign island.
License, do you have your registration and insurance? I got your license, but I'm talking about the registration and insurance.
Yeah. This cop pulled me over and came up to my window, started yelling at me, waiting for my license.
Okay, I'm asking for your insurance and your registration, okay?
I'm looking for it.
No, you're not. You're on the phone and ignoring what I'm telling you to do. You don't have to your dad. You're an adult. You're an adult. Take responsibility for what you just did.
Watch who you talk to like that.
Don't you start.
That is the point of no return. The trooper orders him out. Junior refuses. The window shatters. The gravitational pull of consequence finally makes contact. Junior is pulled from the driver's seat, a violent, flailing collapse of a man who was never taught that geometry has rigid rules. You step out of line, you hit the wall. He hit the wall. This is the moment the real parties enter the stage. Not just parents, but public defenders of a private delusion. Richard Ferenc Sr and his wife arrive, and the atmosphere thickens with performative outrage. We see the first deployment of a very specific medical shield.
Don't you start. You're this close to getting arrested, my friend.
You need to watch who you're coming yelling at. Why are you coming in yelling at?
Step out the car. Step out the car.
Who comes out first?
Step out of the car. Step back here.
What are you at?
Step back here.
Watch you now.
Stop. And stop. Stop.
He has anxiety. They scream into the night air, as if a diagnosis of nervousness operates as a diplomatic immunity card. He's on the spectrum. They argue, weaponizing a neurotype to explain away aggressive non-compliance.
Stand back.
No, that's my son.
Okay,
He
and he called me over here. You can wait.
No, they called me over here.
Hey, he has ADHD and he takes medication. He has...
That is the point of no return. The trooper orders him out. Junior refuses. The window shatters. The gravitational pull of consequence finally makes contact. Junior is pulled from the driver's seat. A violent, flailing collapse of a man who was never taught that geometry has rigid rules. You step out of line, you hit the wall. He hit the wall. This is the moment the real parties enter the stage. Not just parents, but public defenders of a private delusion. Richard Ferenc Sr. and his wife arrive, and the atmosphere thickens with performative outrage. We see the first deployment of a very specific medical shield.
ADHD. He's on medication.
Okay, I understand that.
When things happen like this, he barely graduated. He has a behavioral assessment plan. When somebody in authority comes and he might spiral already.
Okay.
And when somebody approaches him with a different tone,
Okay.
that sets him off and it spirals.
Okay, so what I...
This is the moral refrain we must hang the entire narrative on. 3 words that explain the bloodless crime here. Entitlement as shield. The father, Richard Sr., doesn't ask what happened. He dictates reality. He approaches the scene with the staggering confidence of a man who has never been told that his expertise ends at his property line. He yells over the troopers, demanding a supervisor, demanding empathy, demanding that the state understand that his son is fragile. But the audio betrays the truth. The fragility is a fuse. The son isn't having an autistic meltdown trapped by sensory overload. He is deploying a tactical rage. He threatens the trooper. He uses the language of intimidation. And the father, a licensed attorney in the state of Ohio, stands there and validates it. He doesn't de-escalate his adult son. He amplifies the attack on the officers. He isn't a dad calming a scared kid. He's a defense attorney trying to gaslight a crime scene before the report is written. Let's talk about the mother.
This is going to set off his ADHD
The
and
voice
his
of
anxiety.
hysteria.
I need him transported.
Blaming her son is
I honestly need
just
him.
a
I'm
baby.
asking for medical. If
a
I have to call
creature with the mental
911.
capacity of a minor.
Ma'am, he's 18 years old.
I don't
He's
care.
an adult.
He's 18 or
I
not.
don't
Okay.
care.
It doesn't matter.
He needs medical
Ask the
treatment.
doctor if he's 18 in his mental state. Ask the
In
doctor.
his mental state, he's
Ask the
not.
doctor.
We already had him tested for
He's
his
gonna say
mental
no.
state. He's the age of a 15 to 14-year-old. His head size is the size of a kindergartner. He's delayed in all of
Yet this baby is operating a high-performance vehicle at deadly speeds on a public road. This is the cognitive dissonance, so severe it becomes a public safety hazard.
in all of his areas.
Nah, this dude's only being a little
Okay.
bitch. He's the one
I don't know what else to explain to y'all except other than
Okay.
he is
You were being a bitch
18.
to him. You're the one
Okay?
that's being a bitch
No.
to him. Yes, you were. I was on the phone with him when you were talking shit to him. I was on
The script flips in a way that is nauseating to watch. The troopers are professional. They explain the charges. The father, Richard Sr., pivots to his professional status. I'm an attorney. He states, not as an identifier, but as a threat. The implication is clear. I know the loopholes you grunts don't. You've just stepped into a legal minefield, not a traffic stop. He demands special consideration, not because his son is disabled, but because he, the father, believes he is a member of the legal elite. Entitlement as shield. Here is the hard evidence, the parallel narrative that sinks the family's defense. While the parents are screaming about behavioral assessments and kindergarten-sized brain development, the inventory of the vehicle begins. Inside the car, officers don't find a comfort item or a fidget spinner. They find cash. They find a firearm.
Because last time I checked, that speed limit was 55.
Meanwhile, other deputies are conducting a standard inventory of the Mustang before it gets towed. That's when they make an unexpected discovery.
I'm out to town. Yeah, she's got a pretty bad stack of cash, but the one with $500 here. Okay, grab both of it and we'll get to
A bullet lodged in the chamber.
cash in this car. Does he want to take it, or does he want us to give it to his parents? That way it doesn't go to the tow yard.
Hey man, I guess you got a lot of money in the car?
Nah, it's prop money.
Huh?
It's prop money.
It's fake money?
Yes, sir.
Make sure it's not real.
Yeah, it's
The parents begged for a free pass, based on a medical narrative of vulnerability. Yet they entrusted that same vulnerable psyche to a cockpit of steel, gasoline, and gunpowder. Which narrative is true? The helpless child or the armed aggressor? They cannot have it both ways.
I would have been avoided if you wouldn't have yelled. People do fly by there going 80, 90 miles per hour.
Okay, so here's the thing, man. Everyone that I come across that's doing speeds like that, they get arrested, okay? You were at a speed, that is arrestable.
The law rejects the paradox. The trooper looks at the gun. He looks at the combative suspect. He looks at the parents. The ticking clock moment arrives. A rhetorical question that reframes this from a family drama into a national security level thriller. If a man cannot emotionally process the request for a driver's license without turning into a threat, what logical outcome did his parents expect when they gave him the keys to a weapon? The father, Richard Ferenc Sr, should have known better. He took an oath. But instead of acting as an officer of the court, he acted as a co-conspirator to resistance. He attempted to run a defense based on nullification at the roadside. He demanded the troopers ignore the visible evidence of aggression and yield to his verbal diagnosis. It failed. The son is arrested. The parents are furious. But the fury isn't fear for their son's life. It's fury at the insolence of the police for not recognizing their family's status. Junior isn't just a spoiled kid. He is the logical endpoint of a philosophy where legal accountability is viewed as a personal insult. Do you know who we are? The line isn't spoken verbatim, but it vibrates through every cell of the interaction. The answer, delivered by the immovable force of the Ohio State Highway Patrol, is a stark yes. You are suspects, back at the station, or perhaps sitting in the back of the cruiser. Junior's true confusion bleeds out. He isn't confused about the law. He's confused by the betrayal of his birthright. This wasn't supposed to happen to him. The system was supposed to bend. He expresses no remorse for the danger, no fear of the gun, no contrition for the verbal abuse.
Stop.
They can't bail me out tonight.
There's no bail.
There's no bail.
Like I said, you have to see the judge for the charges before he lets you out.
He said with
The only anxiety expressed is the dread of waiting for a bond hearing.
Man, they need to fire your dumb ass and get a new cop. That's it.
And then also when I'm telling you to step out, and then the way that you step out aggressive-like, okay?
Because there's no point of you yelling at me.
He realizes the free pass his parents promised him through a lifetime of interventions and angry phone calls to subordinates has expired. There is a devastating moment in the court filings where the father's own behavior becomes the subject of the disciplinary proceedings. He isn't just a spectator, he is charged by the Supreme Court's disciplinary counsel for his conduct at the scene. A lawyer, disbarred and suspended for attempting to obstruct justice in real time to save his adult son from a ticket that turned into a felony. The house of cards collapses because the foundation was entitlement as shield. The state's ultimate finding is a masterpiece of forensic understatement. They don't argue that the son is evil. They argue that he, and by extension his parents, display a fundamental inability to appreciate the wrongfulness of his actions. That is the psychological death blow. It's not a legal failure. It is a moral blindness. They storm the courts trying to fight the charges, exposing the raw nerve of their belief system that rules are for other people. The disturbing sense of entitlement mentioned by the court isn't a casual character flaw. It is the defining trait. It is what turns a 23-year-old with a gun into a victim in his own mind. It transforms a pair of educated, affluent parents into screaming obstructionists on a dark road. The case files are public. The disciplinary docket is still active. Pull up the Supreme Court of Ohio's website. Look at case number 2024-0687. Read the allegations against the father. Read the description of the traffic stop. Then answer the direct question in the comments. We often ask, who raised these people? But looking at the evidence, at the mother screaming and the father threatening his legal standing, can you identify the exact second on that body cam footage where the son realized his parents' power was an illusion? What specific frame of the video shows the mask slipping? That's the document. That's the case. If you want to see a system that holds the privileged accountable when they try to burn it down from the inside, hit like, share, and subscribe to Police Bodycam Legal Analysis. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the follow-up when the final judgment hits the gavel. The fire is out. The wreckage is cleared. The evidence remains.